So we are here, we're moving through menopause, and I'm really excited and thrilled to be chatting with Debbie Elzea. Debbie's an intimacy coach and a relationship specialist. You know, this is so important for us to nurture our relationships as we travel through midlife and beyond. And so I thought, what better thing to do than to get some expert advice and some suggestions for us ladies as we traverse the menopause. And Debbie and I have both been there, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt, so we can speak from experience. So welcome, Debbie. It's wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for coming along.
Thanks for having me here, Philippa.
I'm really excited to talk about how we can nurture our loving relationships. And of course, we can't say that three-letter word, can we? So it's three letters and it rhymes with flex.
I say it all the time.
Oh, do you?
I actually think it's overused. I like to use the term lovemaking, which I think some women really have a hard time saying those words, lovemaking. It seems, insincere or contrived for them. But I'm like, if we start thinking about it as lovemaking, we actually enjoy it a lot more.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right, actually. And I can see, you know what, I have to confess, I don't know if it's my Britishness or what it is, but it isn't something that I'm horribly comfortable talking about. So I'm happy that you are, because you can take the lead and tell us all about it. But, middle life, for many of us, and I can say this from my own experience, a marriage of, oh gosh, now it's awful, isn't it, when you have to actually think how many years it is.
And do math.
Do maths, I know. 3 years, I think, coming up. Oh, it's quite a long time anyway, isn't it, that? So, it's a bit of a roller coaster. I've had 2 children, and that messed with the parts, I must confess. And feeling shattered all the time, and it is a roller coaster, a relationship. And we talked about this a little bit, that we practice mental fitness, we practice physical fitness. Why not relationship fitness? Let's stay fit for this.
And
this
sexual fitness.
There you go. You said it.
Use it or lose it. Use it or lose it, ladies. We're going to live a long time. It wasn't that long ago. Our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, they didn't live much past menopause, but we got another, 3 decades on average. Mm-hmm. So, and the glue that bonds most couples together is the physical bond. That's the only thing we can't get elsewhere. You can get fulfillment with your children, your friends and such, but you only can be a sexual being and enjoy this physical bond with your beloved. And we have 30 years to enjoy past menopause. So we can't just give it up and expect to have a happy, flourishing relationship.
No. Well, so, we're here, we're all ears.
Well, we live longer too, it's good for our health. It keeps our man alive for sure. It's really important in keeping a man alive, keeping, prostate cancer at bay, heart disease at bay for our beloveds. So it's something that we just can't, cut off because we are not in the mood. And menopause is often a mood killer, but our mood comes from our head, our heart is largely responsible for our mood. If we wait until our lady bits are turned on, we might be waiting a long time, right? We need to cultivate desire and connection. And, that could come in the form of improving our relationship to make it more loving, more playful, become more of our man's girlfriend. And it could be in getting over your mental blocks about sexuality, right? Seeing it as lovemaking and an expression of love, opening up your heart to making love more. In other words, we have responsibilities and indeed a duty to keep this part of ourselves alive. It's an important part. We were all born from sex. We were made from sex. We are sexual beings.
Yeah. You know, this is something for me that is potentially challenging. My menopause transition meant that I was absolutely exhausted from lack of sleep and you know, really, oh my goodness me, the last thing I would think about when going to bed at night was getting active in the bedroom. Really, truly, you know, I was fit for nothing.
Well,
So
let me change. You notice that it was the last thing I wanted to do when I got into bed at night. Why only at last thing out of, 11 o'clock at night when you're tired from the day? Why always make that a night last thing on your list? What about the morning? Your man's testosterone is highest in the morning. He's more frisky in the morning, probably. You have afternoon, you have after work, you have weekends. Why only the last thing on your list when you tumble into bed at night exhausted?
yeah, throw that out there. Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. Habit, probably. I don't know. But it, you know, it is for sometimes we're talking about teaching an old dog new tricks. We get into a rut in lots of ways in our lives with the food that we eat, with the places that we go, the holidays that we have. Habits, you know, our default is to stay with the familiar. And
Mhm.
so I guess for lots of times we're stepping outside our comfort zone, perhaps. It may not feel natural. You know, you sort of the spontaneity, you think you want it to feel spontaneous or and that's contrived if you've made a
Yeah, you're in a
arrangement.
long-term relationship. When you're in a long-term relationship, you're not alone. You're not alone in not feeling like spontaneously the urge, the desire. It's totally normal to not feel this spontaneous desire when you're in a long-term relationship. But again, that's not a reason to not make love. You do it because of love. You do it to take care of your partner. You do it because it feels good and it bonds you together. And frequently, the after effect, the afterglow can last for days. So you do it for your relationship, your
Mm,
health, your love, and not just because you spontaneously feel desire.
yeah. So there must be tips and strategies that we can employ under those circumstances that you
Sure. I
could
mean,
maybe share.
well, there's so many. I mean, where to start? Like, a lot of women have low desire, and
Mm,
in the Journal of American Medicine, they found that 4 in 10 women have either low desire, lack of pleasure, probably measured in lack of orgasms, or even pain. 4 in 10. But that doesn't mean that you can't take charge of this because desire and libido are different things. Libido means like this organic sex drive, right? It's usually like a young man feels it like a hunger. Women don't typically feel that. But we can feel desire because we like making love. We like being held and touched and made love to and such. It gives us pleasure. It gives us physical release. It makes us feel closer to our partner. So there's a
mm,
difference between libido and desire. You can cultivate
mm.
desire. Personally, my own menopause story is when I hit menopause, my libido went to nothing. And honestly, to be honest, it still is. My libido is nothing. And I am a sex and intimacy coach who talks about sex all the time. But then again, I make love to my husband at least every other day and enjoy it thoroughly because I know it's good. I desire it. I love him. I adore him. I want to be with him. I say to him, if you're not inside me, you are too far away.
That's
But
interesting.
but if I didn't know that I enjoyed making love, that I had a wonderful lover that I want to connect with, am I going around horny? Like, not really. Not really. So it can happen to everyone, but again, your desire is something that you can cultivate.
And so that's in your mind, I'm guessing we're talking about, you know, the thoughts that we might have.
Yeah, in my mind, in my heart, because I'm empowered, right? I know that this is going to be fun and enjoyable and connecting. Yeah. So kind of you also can turn off of sex if you're not getting the kind of sex that turns you on, that you like, that makes you feel
Mm,
made love to. as opposed to just like pounded porn style or something like that. So how do you communicate with your lover? One, you got to know what you like, right?
Mm.
You do have to kind of, you can't just say, I don't want that, right? I don't know what I want, but I definitely don't want that. You have to be able to have some things on the menu that you like, and then present them to your lover in a way that feels connecting. Like, we are sexual explorers together. We are lovers. We are playmates, as opposed to, don't do that, right? Critical, right? Man can get defensive about this stuff. He wants to please you. Our lover wants to please us, but he doesn't know what it's like to be us. He doesn't know what it's like to be in a woman's body. He's got an outie. We've got an innie, right? We've got estrogen. He's got testosterone. He's got cultural conditioning of being a male. We've got it of being a female. We're up in our heads, right? We can't get out of our busy heads. It's so different. The experience is so different from males and females. So we have to help our lover to please us.
Yeah. Well, and I suppose that that comes to being in touch with ourselves as well, doesn't it? That self knowledge, self awareness, but like you said, also empowered to share those thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and it may take, if the relationship has been full of conflict and emotionally shut down, or your man is walled off or resentful, or you are, then it may take, putting the relationship back together again. And that's why I'm not only an intimacy and sexuality coach, I also help with the relationship because if you don't have safety and trust, then how can you be sexual explorers together? How can you make your man, want to please and delight you and be your hero? And the woman has the power to do this by, showing up differently. There takes two to have an unhappy marriage, right? So if just one of them, if she just shows up differently, happier, in a good mood, less stress. Ever notice how your man is magnetically drawn to you? Right? So we have responsibility for our own happiness. I'm a big proponent of positive psychology, which is what makes human flourishing, right? Typical psychology, and I'm a psychotherapist in Colorado, but I use positive psychology methods in a coaching model, because most of what is wrong with relationships and problems with sexuality are not based in trauma or mental illness. They're just based in the fact that they're complicated relationships, especially male-female dynamics, multicultural relationship. They are complicated. And so is female sexuality. Female sexual pleasure is complicated. It's not that you have, necessarily have trauma or mental illness. So we don't have to go with a psychotherapy model, but we go with a skills-based model. And I approach it as, you're not broken. It's an art. It's a science. It's a learned skill. And just talking about it here, Philippa, you and me, right? We normalize it just by talking about it. Most couples never really talk about sex, which is ironic, because the couples with the best sex lives can talk about it. So about showing up different. So showing up, in a better mood, magnetically drawing your man to you, the understanding that men are not women. They are not big, hairy women. Understanding that male dynamics, right? How to get the best out of your man. And that's a big part of my coaching, how to get the best part of your man. And then the physical bond. The physical bond goes a long way. Daily grievances fade away when you are lovers and playmates and have a playful, loving, flirty relationship together. Then that stuff becomes irrelevant.
Do you work with women on their own to tackle that sort of?
I only work with women on their own. Only. The man does not even have to know what she is up to. Sometimes the man will come on the call with me and, like the intro call, and he'll be like, yeah, do that. That's what I've been trying to say to you for years. Yeah. So I'll get the man on the intro call, and then I usually never see them again, except sometimes I get all these thank yous from them.
Oh, well, I'm glad they're grateful.
Philippa, many sexual challenges are based upon either communication, which she needs to do, or they're coming out of her head, right? Like, the inability to relax and be present and get over our body issues and our performance anxiety and our negative conditioning and shame and guilt. So a lot of those things are not couples issues anyways. And also, let's face it, the model that drags a man in to therapy, marriage counseling, men hate it. They do not want to talk to a stranger about their feelings, their fears, their failures. They hate that. Women are doing their men a huge favor by being the one to shift first. Now, the thing is, then I get, women that I talk to, they don't want to do this because they're like, oh, I'm not the problem. He's the problem. Why should I change? I'm like, just wait. Just give it a few weeks and he will change. Because a good man responds when his woman shows up happy, in a good mood, has skills that make him want to please her and wants to be his lover. Oh my gosh, he is a new man. He is actually the old man that courted her, that when they fell, back to when you fell in love. He's in there. He's just built a wall.
Yeah, I mean, I know that from definitely my own experience of having hang-ups, shall we say, starting from really very young in life when my mum, I never ever will forget that, her sort of contraceptive advice when I was a young teenager was nice girls don't do it. And that was like the advice that I got, to the extent of it. Never talked about it again. I mean,
I know a lot of women have hangups and they're bummed out that their parents never had the birds and bees talk to them and things like that. But that is so universal. There is something just so uncomfortable about talking about sexual pleasure with your parents who maybe didn't even experience it, right? They're an older generation. Female sexual empowerment is a relatively new thing.
Well, I know. I mean, I have to put my hand up and say that when I was young, I never, every weekend that I was at home, I was looking after my younger brother, and we'd be downstairs watching the television or something, and they would disappear up the stairs in the afternoon, honestly. And one day there was like banging, rhythmical knocking coming from the upstairs, and my brother said, "Oh, then he's knocking. My dad's knocking. I better go up and see what he wants." And I remember saying, "No, don't do it."
Yeah, I know.
So
There is something, I don't know what it is. I think Freud was wrong. He's talked about the Oedipus complex, and the males want to have sex with the mothers and the sons, et cetera. I think he was wrong. There is something inherently taboo about your parents having sex that's just like, stop, right? And it's understandable. But that your parents stayed happily married?
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, they're still happily married. Yeah,
It
to
makes
this
a
day.
big difference. Having a great sex life makes a big difference. That is one of the ways to affair-proof and divorce-proof your marriage.
Yeah. So, this work that you do with women, I'm just curious, what, what sort of process would you go through? Would you sort of walk me through?
So it depends on whether it's the relationship at issue or just the sexuality at issue. It's on my website, actually, the stages of my program. If they're not chronological. So what we do is when we meet, it's one-on-one, and we start with celebrations, right? Because cultivating optimism about yourself, about your life, about your body, about your man, about your marriage is so essential. We have to let go of a negativity bias that we have to dwell on what's not working. Like, I don't like this about me. I don't like this about him. No, we have to switch to a positivity mindset and start to see the positive. And I use positive psychology methodologies in helping you shift your attitudes about your life, yourself, and your man. We also then learn skills on relating to our man to make him want to please us, delight us, and be our hero. And men are simple. This wouldn't work in reverse. Every woman is different. You can't teach a man how to please a woman, but there's a lot to be said for, treat a man this way. And suddenly he's like, whoa, he's your hero again. And then the sexuality. So sometimes you can look into if your relationship is good, but you have a number of sexual blocks, we can just start with that. And I've determined that women need 7 things for great sex lives. and they are knowledge about not only our anatomy, our arousal. Like, for instance, I just talked to you about the difference between libido and desire.
Mm.
They're different
Mm.
things. So you need knowledge about female sexuality, but also about what you want, because every woman is different. So we need knowledge. We also need worthiness and confidence. If we've got shame, guilt, we're all up on our heads. Pity the fool that tries to seduce us and make love to us. We're not even there. We're up in our heads. We're not even in our bodies, right? So worthiness and confidence. Then there is emotional connection. Women want to feel safe. We want to feel cherished, right? So we have to, get the best out of our lovemaking by feeling emotionally connected. We need time. We don't want to, put sex and connection and intimacy at the low end of our relationship list when we just tumble into bed at 11 o'clock at night and wonder why we're not turned on. No, we need to prioritize our sexual life, and we need to give ourselves time to get aroused. Embodiment means we need the ability to get out of our heads and into the present moment. We need to be mindful while lovemaking, not thinking about the past, not worried about the future, but actually present at the moment. Make sense?
Mm. Mm. Yeah, definitely.
Then there's creativity. The same old gets boring for men and for women. And finally, you're a fitness instructor, so there's sexual fitness, getting the blood flow, getting good tone, and things like that as well. So those are the 7 things that women need for great sex lives. And often, so we can, because it's one-on-one, it's customized, we focus on what you're most needing. And a lot of this is strengths-based too. This is how we get really fast results. Psychology frequently, or marriage counseling, will be like, what's the pain? What's the problem? Let's drill into the pain. Let's drill into the problem. In my coaching, we start with, what do you like? What do you enjoy? Let's build on that first so that you can get some quick results, so we can get more of that into your life, so you can start experiencing pleasure and connection fast.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Have a plan. It's good always to have a plan, for sure. And a guide, somebody to show us, the way if we're floundering. There's no
Support
doubt support.
Support is essential.
Yeah, yeah,
Support is
yeah.
essential. It's one of the things that makes you feel better about your life. Like, I feel supported. I'm not alone,
Mm.
and so
Mm.
you're absolutely right. Support is crucial. It's your superpower.
Yeah, well, so the body issues part of the puzzle. Uh, you know, uh, my body's, I mean, it's in reasonable working order, but it still is not the body that I had when I was 20 something. So, do you have suggestions for how we can circumvent our body issues? I mean, do we cover up, or is there a mantra that I need to learn? Or
Sure. So one thing that I might take you through as an exercise on a session would be like, what do you like about your body? First of all, we're always comparing ourselves to some ideal woman, right? Hardly
mm,
anybody has a perfect body. Even
yeah,
models are airbrushed.
true.
Almost nobody has a perfect body, and we're all getting older. Our husbands are getting older too, right? He doesn't have a perfect body. Does he go around like he doesn't want to show it ever? No, probably not. It's us. It's a mindset shift, right?
Mm,
It doesn't matter to him that you have a perfect body. So why is it so troubling to you? You
mm,
concentrate then instead on what you do like about your body, what you enjoy about your body. Look at all the great things your body can do for you. It can nurture your children. Those breasts have nurtured your babies, right? Your body has done wonderful things for you. Your body turns your husband on, right? Think about what he likes about your body. Focus on the
mm,
positives, strength based. So we got a flat butt or a big butt, but we got nice boobs, right? Let's focus on the good. Let's start and let's
mm,
accept what we don't like. It's more of acceptance, Okay, I've got a belly. This is a human belly. This is what a belly looks like, Acceptance would be first, instead of like, there's no brainwashing involved. Like, I love my belly. I love my belly. I love my belly. Not necessarily. No need to go down that path. Accept it. And just because you're giving gratitude, you're showing up happier and more optimistic in your life. This is also going to reflect on your self-worth your worthiness, confidence, your body, all of this is building on itself. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, the general principles apply across the board, really, in terms of happy and fulfilled in every regard. You know, that acceptance piece of the puzzle applies. Well, it doesn't just help us in this context, you know, it helps us across the board in every which way.
Yeah. Helps you enjoy
It's
your
work.
life more.
Yeah,
Having a
yeah.
great relationship, having a great sex life is essential. We're social animals, and
Mm,
we are drawn to pleasure and connection and touch. It's a key to having a great life.
mm. Yeah, it is very important, as you say, as part of um, health in the broadest sense of the word, to
Yeah.
be healthy in relationships, with intimate relationships, is really so important. That connection with another human.
You
Uh,
live longer. I mean, it's also the
mm,
nicest, best thing you can do for your man. What man doesn't want his girlfriend back, right? He wants his girlfriend back. He lives longer. You feel better because doing for others is also making you feel good,
mm,
so
yeah,
a lot of women
yeah,
are like they're on this self-growth path, but what about growing your love in your relationship, in
mm.
both of you flourishing and being happy?
Yeah. I mean, I love the sound of that. Am I right in thinking you have a book, Debbie?
No, not yet. I've published a number of articles on, say,
Oh,
the 6
okay.
things women need for great, sex lives. It would make a good book, but I haven't had the time yet.
And you have resources there on your website that you mentioned.
Yeah, I blog regularly, so you can see there's a lot of sex tips on my blog page, and my Facebook group is called More Intimacy in Marriage for Women, and that's a lively group. I post daily in there, so I
Yeah, I'm a
encourage women to
member of
join.
your group.
Yeah, moreintimacy.net is the website, and More Intimacy in Marriage for Women is the Facebook group.
Well, and you know, I'm very happy to see people in my Moving Through Menopause Facebook group. So I hope that thank you so much for your time today. I really have appreciated our conversation. Uh, you know, it's not always the most comfortable conversation to have, but it is, you know, life is for living, and in its fullest sense of the word, if at all possible. And you know, it does sometimes require a little bit of, like I said in the post, CPR, and work. But this
Mhm.
work is worth doing, and
Yeah. Growth, what do they say? Growth is just in the area where you feel uncomfortable because that is your growth zone, right? So
oh,
that's how you grow, and just by pushing your envelope just enough till you feel uncomfortable. So that you feel uncomfortable here means you're taking stuff in, you're absorbing. And if you think this call was helpful, you should try working with me.
well, Debbie, we'll save that for the privacy of our own conversation. But thank you so much. Thank you again for your time today. And I do encourage people to connect with Debbie. She's a lot of fun, and really very knowledgeable in her field. So I shall say goodbye to you for now, and we'll stay in touch. If you've got any questions, throw them across to us if you're watching this in the recording, and we will respond. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye
Philippa.
for now.